Limits of the Flesh, Chapter 28, Fantasy Fiction by Azazyel. To say the least, Sirzechs, when hearing me cry out in surprise that the Phenex patriarch wanted me to sleep with Riser, finally gave up the ghost in his attempt to hold in his laughter. Bwahaha. This is the funniest meeting I've had in years, that is still so serious, haha. Sirzech's laughter rang out boomingly through the room, making the Phenex patriarch scowl. Lord Lucifer, even if my son has strayed and become an annoyance that needed to be knocked down a peg, this is entirely too much. Rayna Phenex said, making Sirzechs calm down from his fit of laughter and stare at the mother of Riser Phenex. Sirzechs then very clearly spoke with all the weight of the leader of the devil race. Yes, he was merely an annoyance to me, and although I allowed this marriage to go through, the moment he overstretched as my darling Rias's husband that was to be adopted into the family. Sirzech's face was chilling as he leaned over the Phenex patriarch, who cringed. I knew that arrogant little peacock would have overreached, whether it was attempting to pull Gremory properties towards himself or even messing with the ladies of the Gremory house, be it my mother or my wife. And thus, I would have had all the excuses to deal with him as I saw fit. So, no, I think this punishment barely fits his crime of being such an annoyance that has ruined my sleep at night. Sirzechs monologued. Then Sirzechs coughed and looked at a magical array that showed the time. I have other duties. Phenex patriarch, stay away from the Red Dragon Emperor and my Rias. But Rayna, if you desire to make a deal with Jake for the return of your son after today, that's fine. Now let my Rias and her friend celebrate their win. Sirzechs ordered, all but herding the two older devils into a larger teleportation array with only the weight of his gaze. After all the older devils and interlopers had left the room, it lost all of its tension, with Kaneko going back to sitting on the couch Kiba had commandeered and faceplanting in exhaustion from the raiding game and the stress of Sirzechs throwing his weight around. There was a heavy silence as I myself just went to one of the empty couches next to Artoria altar and just did the same as Kaneko and just laid on the couch on my back with a pillow covering my face just to relax. Kinda hard to celebrate, isn't it? Aquino asked Riley, seeing just how tired we all were. Let's just get home to the ORC, we can just have a sleepover and watch some movies in peace. I don't believe that the Phenex family isn't having people watch us now. So, let's back home. Rias said, making me and Kaneko both groan in dismay at having to get up from the soft couches we took over. Kaneko, get up, and Jake, come on, you haven't even seen the in-house movie theater the ORC sometimes uses. All the seats are big, heated love seats with back massagers, and everything, so come on, it will be better than falling asleep on that couch where Lucifer knows who has done what with. Rias goaded me, and now I had no damn choice but to get up, as I knew all too well the degeneracy devils got up too, and I didn't want any of that on me. Fine. Me and Kaneko both grumbled in unison as we rolled onto our feet, with Aquino giggling at our dour expressions. I understand why Jake is tired after beating the king and 4 other opponents on his own. But why is Kaneko so tired when she only beat one member? Artoria asked guilelessly, making Kaneko hiss at the much bustier woman. You stole my kills, you big titty bimbo. Kaneko scolded Artoria, and as Rias and Aquino held in her giggles, I likewise burst into laughter at Artoria's bullseye of a rebuttal. I stole the kills because I actually have breasts. No. You just weren't fast enough to defeat them. Artoria said, with only her head tilting in confusion as Kaneko's pale face went beet red and I saw her clench her fist to drive it into Artoria's stomach or something. Artoria then patted Kaneko on the head, making the petite cat girl's eyes twitch. Don't worry, little lion, one day you will take down any foe you desire, but until then I will protect you. Even Kaneko's yells of outrage rang out. We were all captured in another teleportation sigil, and with a flash we were deposited back on Earth in the ORC room. But then, literally the moment I landed, I heard a loud series of thumping noises, that was feet falling on the carpet, and then I was thrown onto the ground. Monet and Klee tackled and hugged me. Master is back. They yelled, hugging me tightly, and as I looked up, I saw EI standing above me with her black lace panties on display, but either way she was smiling lightly seeing me back. Welcome back, Master, EI said softly before she reached down, and despite the other two's grumbles, she pulled me out of the dog pile the two gave me. Monet, Klee. EI said sharply, making the two girls freeze. Master needs a shower after his trials. So let him go do his things before we take up his precious time. Yes, EI. The other two girls said weakly, and thus I was freed of Clee and Monet. Alright, let us take a bit to get cleaned up and I will order some pizza to go along with our movies, Rhea said, clapping her hands to gather our attention. Kaneko, show Jake and his servants where the theater room is after you get cleaned up. She ordered, and Kaneko nodded after she got away from Artoria. Thus, the Gremory peerage all basically split up to use the ORC's clubhouse's many bathrooms and such to get cleaned up, with myself being followed by EI and Monet to my own shower as Clee decided to follow around her fellow petite girl in Kaneko. Are you two joining me? I asked Riley as I entered the room with its own attached bath and shower, as Rias told us we had a whole 30 minutes to get cleaned up and such. I was going to take my time and relax. Yes, master. Both Monet and EI said without any shame, despite the light blush they wore across their face, as although they were innocent in many things, they were still getting more and more socially aware, so they now did realize the significance of being around me naked. EI then slipped out of her short kimono, and I saw that she was wearing a black bra that matched her black panties. Likewise I saw Monet stripping out of her already tightly clinging t-shirt and short shorts. Then while Monet got the shower ready, EI began softly pulling off the singed clothes I was still wearing, as my normal Kuo uniform got a bit burnt when I humored Riser during the fight, but thankfully, I didn't get burnt past anything I couldn't instantly heal. Here, let me get in the shower first, I said as EI finally pulled down the last of my clothes, leaving me bare to the world and already well ready for any fun times. But as I wondered if it would be wrong for me to take advantage of my servant's willingness to do this, my mind instantly cleared up as I saw Monet and EI finished stripped and bare their bountiful voluptuous bodies as they climbed into the shower with me. Master, can you bend down a bit? You are too tall for us to wash your hair, Monet said softly as I felt her water-covered breasts push against my back, and likewise EI's slightly firmer breasts push into my lower chest as she smiled up at me with the shower's hot water pushing down her dark purple hair. Wordlessly I did just that, but as I leaned forward, EI, who was in front of me, took that as I signed to cup my chin and kiss me, making myself hum in delight at EI's soft lips meeting my own. Then Monet began to lather and wash my head as I made out with EI, and our kissing only broke apart when Monet warned us that she needed to rinse off the shampoo. Let Monet have some of your care, master, EI said gently as her eyes glowed a soft electric blue from her inflamed passions, and then as I once again leaned down, this time as I made out with Monet, I explored her body in a more sensual way, triggering all her little pleasure buttons, like how the underside her large breasts were rather sensitive. Both Monet and EI both had large breasts, and each set was different in their own way, but after EI finished washing my hair with some conditioner, I sat down on a little seat that was on the side wall of the shower, and then while Monet began washing my back as EI descended downwards. Then as EI took hold of my manhood, even Monet, who was all but pushing her large breasts into my face as she washed my back with a loofah, froze. Master, may I relive you? EI finally asked as her hand tightened on my manhood, and as I looked down on EI's beautiful face I nodded. Yes, EI. I won't ever say no to you offering to make me happy, I said, brushing a hand against EI's face, making her close her eyes in comfort at the feeling, but as her hand on my manhood slackened, she seemingly came to, and her eyes sharpened as she smiled with more of a seductive tone before she leaned down, and with one swallowing motion, she showed the advantage of being a handcrafted woman. Neither EI nor Monet had a gag reflex, so EI was able to swallow the whole of my manhood with her small nose pushing into my stomach as her throat still clenched at the intruder. Master, don't forget me. Monet pouted as she buried my face into her luscious breasts, and I jolted as EI, not wasting her time playing with me, withdrew my manhood from her throat and then dived back down repeatedly, pumping her head back and forth while using her hands to massage my legs.